Well, hey there, native plant enthusiasts. This is Santino, Education Coordinator for Bowman's Wildflower Preserve, coming at you with another quick nature note. This time, doing things a little bit different on this cool winter day. I'm coming at you all from the auditorium of our visitor center. And with the launch of our new Native Plant Advocate program, I thought it'd be lots of fun to showcase a skill or, highlight a skill that we encourage in all of our naturalists here at the preserve. And that skill is noticing things. So one of Pennsylvania's greatest naturalists, Ned Smith, once said, "Seeing is more than merely looking. It involves noticing things." So winter is a perfect time to practice your skill of noticing things, as we are free from the green busyness, colorfulness of the growing season, and we can really turn our attention to those few bits of green that remain. So that being said, before me today on this table that we'll showcase, I've got 4 of Pennsylvania's evergreen species, and we're going to take a look at those and showcase and notice some things that make them unique and help you with their identification. So that being said, I'm going to flip the camera around and hope you all enjoy. All right, so as we took a look at these 4 individual specimens, you'll see that one is very different than the other. So for that, we're going to take a quick look at our eastern red cedar. If we take a closer look at both the needles, quote unquote, the evergreen bits, as well as the fruit, we'll notice that this one is quite a bit different than the other 3. If we take a close-up look at the foliage, you'll see that it's made up of a whole bunch of scales kind of laid together. And that is in opposition to our pine and hemlock, which have much more needle-like foliage. Also, as you can see, this particular species does not produce a cone like many evergreens. Instead, it produces these beautiful blue berries. And for fans of gin, you might recognize the flavor of these berries. It's the eastern red cedar that gives gin its flavoring, which is super cool. So then, as we move on to our other 3 more needled and cone species, again, the eastern white pine, the shortleaf pine, and the eastern hemlock, we're going to take a look at those. So going on just the pine, since we have 2 to compare, we'll take a look at one of our tallest trees here in Pennsylvania, the eastern white pine. Now, pines, as we can see, they kind of give us those big fluffy needles. The needles are much longer than many of the other evergreen species. And eastern white pine is easily identifiable as its needles come in bunches of 5. So as I zoom in here, or move the camera a bit closer, you'll see that all of those needles are tied together in a single bunch. And in fact, if we were to take a closer look at this branch here, you'll see that all the needles are kind of held together in a bunch. Those bunches are called fascicles, all right? And eastern white pine, unlike many of the other pines, has bunches of 5. So the word white has 5 letters, so easy to remember, 5 needles, 5 letters, white pine. You'll also notice that it has a very large and long cone. That's very stereotypical of the eastern white pine. And that cone looks very different than, as well as those needle bunches, the short-leafed pine. So just comparison side by side, right? Our white pine cone and our short-leaf pine cone, those 2 look very different. You'll see, a kind of a point on the end of the short-leaf pine cone. The white pine doesn't have that. But despite the difference in appearance, both cones serve the same purpose of holding and housing the developing seeds until they're ready to be dispersed. All right, so now we're going to, again, jump back over to our friend, the shortleaf pine. And if we look at those needle bunches, you'll see, you can count them 1, 2. Only 2 needles per fascicle, as opposed to 5. The other common bunch that you'll see will be our red pine, and that'll have 3 needles per fascicle. So red, R-E-D, 3 letters, 3 needles. But again, eastern white pine is the only one you're going to find with 5. So if you see 5 needles per fascicle, you know it's a white pine. All right. And then to wrap it up, lastly here, I want to take a look at our state tree, and that is the eastern hemlock. Now, one of the things I hear many people say is, look at those baby pine cones. And unfortunately, they are neither baby nor pine cones. They are, in fact, hemlock cones. And so we can take a closer look at those. Hopefully that focuses well enough for you. All right, and just like its larger cousins, right, those cones house the seeds, and the scales of the cones protect them while they develop, and they will open up when they're ready to disperse. Now, if we take a closer look at the branches, you'll see that the needles are attached right to the main stem there. They're not housed in a bunch, and they're a little bit broader and flatter. So eastern hemlock, as you look at the branch as a whole, you might notice, right, that its needles are held out flat. Oh, this doesn't want to focus, sorry. Or semi-flat compared to, if I were to hold this, right, the whorled kind of poofy appearance of the pine. So there's a growth difference there to notice, all right? And the same thing, you can see it kind of poofs even with this cluster for our short-leafed pine. All right. And then another thing to notice about the eastern hemlock, if you look at the underside of the needles, you'll see, if it will kindly zoom in, that the underside of the needles has two white bars on it. Hopefully those help you easily identify this plant as well. All right. And then some keen-eyed naturalists might notice something about this plant. As I move the camera around, you'll see some bright white spots. And those bright white spots are actually an invasive insect that is infesting our eastern hemlock. That is the hemlock woolly adelgid. So to wrap up this quick nature note here, I wanted to take a moment and use our friend the microscope here to take a closer look at the woolly adelgid. So we're going to take a look right now. And so what you see there before you is actually the egg case of the woolly adelgid. It has the insects housed within it. And yeah, this insect was actually introduced to the United States from Asia back in about the 1920s. The first introduction was on the West Coast. There was a second introduction on the East Coast. And since then, it's been continuing to spread and grow, affecting our hemlock trees. And this is one of the biggest threats that our eastern hemlock faces moving forward, is destruction from this particular insect pest. All right, everyone, that just about wraps it up for us today. I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the opportunity to watch this video and practice your skills in noticing things. I encourage each and every one of you to practice those skills while you're out on the trail. As I said at the start of the program, winter is a perfect time to begin to notice things when you're not being bombarded by the beautiful, pretty flowers or the green growth that happens during the spring and summer seasons. Really take this opportunity while you can. And there's not a ton happening out there to really start to bring your focus in. It's amazing what you'll get to see and learn to appreciate when you stop and start to notice. I want to thank again everyone who's been subscribing and liking the videos and the channel. It really does help us out. So if you can keep on doing that, that would be much appreciated. And I hope you guys enjoy watching the videos as much as we like making them for you. And don't forget to share them with a friend as well who you think would also enjoy the content. We would really appreciate that. And yeah, until next time, I encourage each and every one of you to keep on experiencing what's natural and learn what's native. Take care.